Hey guys, this video is about why you shouldn't put your dog into a sit when he sees another dog and is reactive on a walk. And I'm going to explain why that's not a good idea. So if you think about what you would do if you were, let's say, for example, if you were driving and you got lost. The first thing you would do if you got really lost, really turned around, you didn't know where you were going, you would probably instinctively just turn down your radio, probably stop talking to whoever you were talking to, and possibly, if you were really lost, actually pull off the road and get your bearings, figure out where you are, okay? The reason you do that is because you're trying to focus. So you're trying to get any kind of distractions out of the way in order for you to focus on where you're going. So what happens is when you stop your dog, when your dog gets reactive to another dog on the walk, let's say, what a lot of people do, I'd say the vast majority of my clients, in fact, before they came to work with me, what they would do is they would put their dog in a sit when he was starting to lose it over another dog or had already lost it, put the dog in a sit and try to get them to focus back on them with a food treat or talking to them or telling it's going to be okay or something to that effect. So the reason that doesn't work is because when you stop the dog, it's the same thing as when you stop your car and pull over because you're lost. The dog is actually able to focus more on what it is that they're upset about, because at that point the dog doesn't have to focus on the walk, isn't worried about moving forward in a migratory mode, kind of on a mission. And now all of a sudden the dog is just focused on that animal or that person, whatever it is that sets your dog off. That's what they're focused on. So they're able to do that actually better than if you were to keep them in motion. So I know what you're thinking. A lot of people will say, well, my dog, when he sees another dog or another person, he gets so upset that I can't possibly do that. Well, you usually don't have much to gain by stopping. But what I'll tell you that you could do is, if you can't just push through that event and just try to stay as calm as you possibly can when your dog is being really upset or really reactive to something, then what you can do is decide to advocate for the dog, since he's obviously upset about what's ahead of him. And you can actually turn into the dog and turn away, not in a panic. That's really important. You don't want your dog to think that you can't handle whatever it is that's coming towards you. You don't want them to think that. You want this to be a trust-building experience. But what you can decide to do is say, you know what, this is too much for him right now, and we're on a path or on a journey to be more balanced and to be rehabilitated, but we're not there yet, so I'm not going to make a big deal about this. I'm just going to calmly move away from that situation. You're always better off when you're turning, if it's possible, depending on how narrow your street is, if you're in the country, if you're in a residential urban area, whatever, it just depends on that. But if you can turn in such a way that you actually kind of bump your dog. So for example, if I was walking with the dog right now and I had him on my left, if I turned in this direction to the right, the dog would actually continue to go out this way as I would go this way. But if my dog is on the left and I actually turn into him and actually bump him slightly, run into him a little bit and turn, that will actually have an effect on snapping the dog out of, or at least reducing some of the reactivity in his brain, because now you've sort of boxed him in. So you're on one side, you're moving, and it kind of helps guide him away from that situation. I'm not going to say this works for every single case, but I will tell you that probably 95% of the time, it's going to be better than if you just sit with the dog, or if you ask the dog to sit. You've probably noticed that already, that it really doesn't do much for you, except allow the dog to focus more on the behavior that he's already doing. So give that a shot. For a dog that's got a ton of reactivity, it may, at the very least, it may lessen some of that anxiety a little bit and get his brain into a little bit more stable state, but it's worth a shot. I just have so many clients that are so frustrated when they put their dogs into that sit, and it really doesn't accomplish anything, especially when they take them out of the sit. The dog is right back into that same behavior. So give that a shot, okay? Have a great week, you guys. Love you. See you. Bye.